Our next honorary degree candidate is Dr. Clifford Christians. Interim Dean of the School of the Arts, Daniel Tobin, will read the citation. Interim Chair of Marketing Communication, Donald Hurwitz, will present his teacher and the candidate.
Prolific scholar, award-winning teacher, and worldwide lecturer, you have illuminated the vital roles that ethics and ethical decision-making play in the work of the professional news media and in human dialogue, and articulated the ethical implications that pertain to journalism in democratic societies. Currently Professor Emeritus at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, you directed the Institute of Communications at that university from 1987 to 2001. You have also been a visiting scholar at Princeton University and at the University of Chicago, and a Pew Fellow at Oxford University. You have authored, co-authored, or edited 12 books and monographs, including Normative Theories of the Media, Journalism in Democratic Societies, which received the 2010 Frank and Luther Mott Kappa Tau Alpha Research Award for Best Research-Based Book on Journalism and Mass Communication. Handbook of Media Ethics, Ethical Communication, Moral Stances in Public Communication, and Ethics for Public Communication. You have also been an editor or editorial board member for more than 25 journals in the United States and abroad, including Critical Studies in Media and Communication and the ELO Forum, and you have lectured in 24 countries. You have received 8 awards for teaching excellence and more than 25 honors and awards for your scholarship. In recognition of your contributions to the field of ethics in communication, Emerson College is proud to present you with an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree.
Clifford Christians, Emerson College is very pleased to bestow upon you the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Christians to deliver today's commencement address.
Thank you for this extraordinary honor. President Jacqueline Liebergott, Chairman Jeffrey Greenhout, Chief Academic Officer Linda Moore, Dean Richard Zauft, and master's degrees recipient, proud families and friends. What a beautiful city this is. The Athens of the East. I enjoy this city as almost everyone else does for its education, culture, history, and arts. But I'm from Chicago Cubs country and envy Boston's success in sports. Every year, it seems, your great teams, the Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots, are in the playoffs. The Cubs last won the World Series over a century ago, the year that Tolstoy wrote his epic War and Peace. The good book instructs us not to be consumed by jealousy, but I am. I'm humbled and in awe of Boston. What an honor to present this address to my favorite people, graduate students, at this remarkable school I admire so much. My congratulations to Emerson College Graduate Students 2011. With your new master's degree, you join the world's educated elite, and I recognize with academic pleasure your splendid achievement. Please join me in the educator's prayer. Lord, lead us to the truth, but save us from those who have found it. The commencement address, the moral order, our home. A manifesto. In Plato's Academy, they offer daily sacrifices. When Harvard, the first college on this continent, opened in 1636, all students went to chapel to keep their souls fresh. The moral philosophy course was taught to seniors in universities and colleges until late in the 19th century. From Plato to classes in the philosophy of life, we pursued knowledge from its presuppositions. Education made a transcendent appeal to the supernatural. And in today's secular age, such metaphysics are impossible to maintain. In lieu of chapels and sacrifices, we need grand occasions like this commencement to affirm our core values and offer tribute for the blessings in abundance of good teachers and administrators at Emerson, educational resources from the Board of Trustees so you could work hard and smart, families and friends who've been indispensable. But on a deeper level, what does this commencement mean for you as master's graduates and for us wishing you well? Together we affirm that the moral order is our home. Emerson takes the liberal arts and critical thinking seriously, but you are not reduced to your rationality. Your master's degree presumes you are a moral being. The standalone courses throughout the curriculum in ethics, law, and diversity certainly did so, but communications management, documentary production, and creative writing are normative too. The curriculum, Emerson's policies, its concern for integrity in the media, its student practices are all rooted in the same idea: the moral order is this college's livelihood. Education here is centered not in the cranium, but the human spirit, in values and beliefs where the mortal takes on immortality. Rather than live with an empty center, you've been challenged to embody the ideal. There is a spirit of goodwill on this campus, even to those who don't always deserve it. Emerson's civility, from your admissions to this commencement, has inspired your mind and being. The moral order, our home. The moral order, luminous at Emerson. Like heatness in red-hot iron, the moral dimension saturates your graduate degree. I read Emerson's mission statement and know that it's worth memorizing. Emerson College educates students for positions of leadership, informed by liberal arts values that seek to promote civic engagement, encourage ethical practices, foster respect for human diversity, and inspire students to create and communicate with clarity, integrity, and conviction. Magnificent. Emerson affirms the moral order. Since its founding in 1880 by Charles Wesley Emerson as a school of oratory, its mission and focus have remained largely the same. President Lieber Gott's retiring this year will be applauded for her spectacular achievements over nearly 2 decades. If I told you all of her accomplishments, you would want your money back. We would not have enough time to present your diplomas today. But her greatest legacy is making that mission more vivid and vibrant than it's ever been before. Emerson chose reporter Janet Ewan May Wu for an honorary degree today, not only because of her award-winning excellence in journalism. She incarnates the mission statement ideal for this Broadcasters Hall of Fame inductee. The moral order is phosphorescent. The foundations of our knowing are deeply interiorized. When we work with data, we make value judgments regarding them. Anything explicit presupposes a fund of inexplicit knowing. The rules of rhyming do not tell us what a poem is without the tacit knowledge of poetic ruleness. An actor knows dramatic style, not just memorized lines. All human knowledge must accept something as given. Without a starting point, our intellect is incoherent. I speak of a moral order, not undifferentiated energy, but an integrated whole. Reality is not raw material, but is ordered among its parts. Some kinds are hierarchical species within genus, but relations among humans are horizontal. There is no slave race to serve a master race, and the human species will not mutate into something else. This coherent whole is history's source, its beginning, an intelligible order that makes history intelligible. The golden center of our being is not merely values or morality or inchoate mores, but the moral order. To deny its validity is foolishness, like graduate students refusing on the grounds of autonomy to take the required courses for their degree. As citizens of the cosmos, we hear the moral dimension of the human species affirmed across history and geography. In Confucius, equilibrium and harmony are the universal path of moral consensus. Ren, our common humanness, is embodied in the human race as a whole, not excellence based on particular birth, social position, or achievement. In Western society, the ancient Greeks first brought the moral domain into focus. We are body and mind for sure, but also spirit, psyche, the moral imagination, the moral order. In this third dimension, Aristotle named after Hermes, the god of language, hermeneia, hermeneutics. In Aristotle's classic Nicomachean Ethics, hermeneia is not theoretical knowledge or technical skill, but discernment, practical wisdom, fusing norms and context into one another. For Carol Gilligan, the female moral voice roots ethics in the primacy of relationships, which themselves cannot be dissected further without destroying them. Rather than the minimal standard of avoiding harm to others, she insists on compassion and nurturance as the ground of moral development. In his masterpiece, Totem and Taboo, Freud claimed that every society raises up totems, ideals, a vision of what makes life worth living. And these totems are not fashioned out of thin air. They come into being when communities agree on some kind of common commitment, which itself supposes a starting point. Professor Thomas Cooper's research strategy is learning from indigenous groups, those who experience their moral perspective firsthand and practice modes of communication without an industrial overlay. Kwasi Wairidu writes from an African philosophical perspective. In his terms, the survival of human society is possible only if there is a rudiment of thought and action. Intercultural communication is impossible, and language translation inconceivable without a shared substratum of meaning. For Augustine, in the 4th century, professor of rhetoric at Milan and later Bishop of Hippo, rhetoric is not value neutral, but truth producing. Communication does not merely make things clear, but motivates us to belief and action. Speech arises from and engages the moral order. The normative domain is a claim about being, our intrinsic humanness. It is a primordial generality, an organic bond across the human species. Every human being is obligated not to torture any other human being. This obligation is not conferred, but a natural, inherent right, reflecting the deep structure of the moral universe. Ethical frameworks are as fundamental for orienting us to social space as the need to establish our bearings in physical space. Mahatma Gandhi, as he often does, says it best. I want the cultures of all lands to blow about my house as freely as possible, but I refuse to be blown off my feet by any. Out of the moral order, the meaning and purpose of human existence becomes the context in which professional decisions are made and public issues resolved. As a member of the human species, you brought the moral order with you to Emerson, shaped as it was by the personal, cultural, religious, and academic experiences that are uniquely your own. When Emerson's storied alumni have been on the campus, demonstrating their commitment to aesthetic excellence, it reinvigorates your conscience. On the stage, in performance studies, debate, and dramatic interpretation, as human passions are stirred, these are epiphanal times for you. For the MFA, the faculty publishes award-winning novels, stories, screenplays, and poems, and your moral imagination comes to life. You're taught social justice in the classroom, and you resonate with the legacy of Martin Luther King. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Emerson has perhaps the finest faculty combination of theory and practice in the world. And you learn with Tolkien, all that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wonder are lost. This graduate training, at home in the moral order at Emerson, you now put to work in your careers. Your history here will become historic. the fleeting months and years of degree work made permanent for your life hereafter. At peace with the moral universe ontologically, and in resident with it at Emerson, it's your shield and buckler henceforth. The appropriate role for communication practices and media technologies to honor this college is opening windows on the moral order. Since our public life is knit together by social values, moral literacy ought to be privileged as the media's mission. Communication in all its professional forms should stimulate the moral imagination. When understanding and insight result from advertising and integrated marketing communication, then the moral literacy comes into its own. Those with a Master of Science degree, you've learned the latest in medical technology, but with a commitment to treating the ill, disabled, and disenfranchised with dignity. To be a mature art form, film ought to enable us to traverse the moral landscape. Dr. Manny Paraskis makes journalism ethics inescapable. And when we read Professor Jerry Lanson's new book on telling stories in an age of blogging, we know the hard-hitting ones include a morally sensitive vocabulary. On those invigorating occasions when you practice and illuminate the normative contours of the taken-for-granted world, the moral order is your home. In conclusion, with communication central to the curriculum, to the content of your degrees, and to your career, we face a conundrum. How is it possible that humans who are constituted by communications could fully explain the process by which they are enabled to do the explaining? This is Lee Thayer's question. It's an old paradox in new clothes. Can a theory of something contain itself? We confront a difficulty unique to communications. There are not people and language. The one is but a manifestation of the other. As we come to grips with communications phenomena, we comprehend human being. To describe communication is necessarily to posit a rudiment of morality. In all this, we cannot escape our complicity. The more we probe through communication into human mystery, the more deeply we encounter the moral order. The moral universe, our tonic, our elixir, sine qua non for education and professional practice. The moral order, our home, a lever long enough to move the earth. May the wind be at your back and the road rise up to meet you. Pax vobiscum.